Welcome to the Micheaux Mission, two men, one podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I'm joined as always by my partner.
Hey, holla at your boy. This is Len.
And this, the last episode in February, which has been designated our Cowboys and Aliens month, we are going to put a bow on it with the 1979 classic film Alien, which according to Lynn is a black film. And spoiler, I'm not going to push back but so hard because I love this movie. You may have noticed that Colt Meister has put his claws into Philadelphia once again, and we are here remotely. But as they say, one frozen monkey don't stop no show, and we are bringing it to you live through Riverside.
Live from the Riverside. Amen. Yeah, boy.
But before we get into Alien and this and that, how you doing, brother?
I am doing very well, my friend. Doing very well. And shout out to everyone out there who are watching this as it premieres on YouTube for your streaming pleasure. Hello there, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
Yeah, we I know you have been looking forward to this review for so long.
Sure. I can't wait to hear how you frame this.
Oh, I've got it. I mean,
okay.
I've got it locked down. I've got it locked down. You know, and I appreciated that you probably wouldn't push back too much because this was one of your favorite films. You know, as opposed to if I walked in here and said the Seven Brides for Seven Brothers is a black film, I'm sure you would have.
Right. I would have had many questions.
Yes. But I appreciate you not going there. But speaking about, some things being black or not, there's actually, in the world of science fiction, there's actually a very, very heralded project of bygone days that is about to be rebooted from a black lens, as Black Panther and Sinner's own Ryan Coogler is about to bring you back into the X-Files. And this time with Micheaux favorite Danielle Detweiler already attached to the series that already has a commitment for the pilot to debut soon on Hulu. And now, where do you land, Vincent, in the world of X-Files fandom?
Oh, I absolutely adore the X-Files. Do you have in front of you how many seasons it ran?
I believe it ran something like about 7 or 8 seasons.
7 or 8. The first 3, maybe 4 seasons, some of the greatest science fiction that's ever been on television.
Excuse me, the series actually ran for a total of 11 seasons from 1993 to 2002.
Right. And I think the first 3 or 4 seasons, being conservative, because off the top of my head, I don't know when something happened. Like, I think you could probably make an argument for 5 seasons if you wanted to. But just absolute brilliant television. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it was one of those shows that I, knew was a critical darling. I can't say in all honesty that I've watched more than 2 or 3 episodes of the X-Files.
Really?
Yeah. And I think it primarily does it's because of 2 things. One, and first and foremost, is at the time that it was out would have been the time when I was actually probably working on weekends. So I would,
I think it came on like Friday night for a few years.
It came on Friday nights, and I think for a long time it was like one of their staples on Sunday. I think that's where it really like picked up steam and became like this huge hit on Sunday. Following like The Simpsons and shows like that. But I didn't working on the weekends meant that I couldn't watch it regularly. So it just never became the habit for me. You know, this is of course
Sure.
the days before streaming and ubiquitous rerunning of shows and stuff like that. So it never became the habit for me. And even though I am a big fan of science fiction, it takes me a little bit to really catch on to a show, and and especially a show where, while there was definitely the science fiction part of it, there was also this undercurrent of will they, won't they, as far as the two leads, and that just didn't interest me. So I just never went.
I thought you were going to say the X-Files was one of the real first examples of television that leaned into what we've come to call a mythology.
That's true.
So I do think that there was a window to get in
before the mythology becomes like a little bit too dense for you.
Right. And certainly we can quibble about what year it was, but at some point it completely crawls up its own ass.
As a lot of those things do.
And it just is no longer the sort of impact that you want.
Right. And then I think for like maybe the last few years of it, the majority of the news coming out of the franchise, you were more interested in the stuff that was happening behind the camera, like why David Duchovny wasn't there, or he maybe come back for 2-3 episodes or something like that.
It really was a case of they didn't leave the stage when they should have.
Right.
But the first 2 or 3 seasons, my God,
it was a juggernaut. People were talking about it.
Look, the reason I knew it came on Friday, this was 100% an example of my nerdiness overwhelmed my running the streets with people.
Because you were staying home.
No, I 100% told people, I will meet you there.
Okay.
I'm going to watch the X-Files, and then I'm going to catch up with you.
Right. Because this was appointment television. It was appointment television, man.
It really was.
And not only was there no streaming, but there wasn't, this was the early days of like even like VCRs. You're recording stuff. So you watch it, or you had to wait for the rerun, and you didn't want to do that because you would then miss out on the conversation, because even though there wasn't the internet, you still had the water cooler and people were talking about this stuff that next week at work. So you wanted to be part of that conversation. So.
Right. But yeah, I'm very excited about it. Daniel Detweiler, I'm very excited about that. I'm wondering if Ryan Coogler is just going to go full bore and it'll have a black cast.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Something, especially since it's going to be on Hulu, so he certainly has the freedom to do that. But we shall see. I think that is very touching that he says he's doing this because the X-Files was his mother's favorite show.
Sure.
So that's one of the inspirations for it. And now his mother is, if I read the story correctly, she's excited, but she's reserving her true excitement to see who he casts as the lone gunman.
The lone gunman, yeah, sure,
yes. Sure. Because
very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. Ryan Coogler and the X-Files coming your way on Hulu very soon with Danielle Detweiler. Look for that, missionaries. And while you're looking for that, Vincent and I are going to go through your emails, or as we like to call them,
missives from the missionaries. So what else is going on, Lynn?
We have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the missionaries. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, missives from the missionaries.
All right, Vincent, we have an email from Belinda Silber.
Hey, Belinda.
have you ever seen Space is the Place? I was invited to see it at a viewing party where you were supposed to eat pot-laden food. I declined and saw it sober. Still wondering if I should try to see it stoned. Your friend Belinda Sober. I can't imagine what it might be like to watch Space is the Place stoned, because it is a trippy film.
Yes, it
It is
is. And
very,
we've
very.
reviewed it, Belinda.
Yes, we have. Look in the
Yeah,
archives,
we've
Belinda.
reviewed it.
Check it out.
I've had a cocktail or two in me and watched it. And that's something.
Oh, really?
But yeah.
Okay. We have an email from Michael Lockett.
Hey, what's up, Michael?
Len, Vince, my fellow missionaries, are you two done with winter yet? I'm counting down the days till spring because I'm taking my happy ass to some sun and sand. I hear you, brother. I hear you.
Look, we actually said today, if you've been out here in Philadelphia, we've been chuckling how Philadelphians are just over it.
Mm-hmm.
Just sort of over it. It's snow everywhere. It's yes, yes. We're finished with the snow. We've gotten our snow.
Michael continues. Last week's film, Boss Nigger, with Fred Williamson, was a much better film than I expected. This is almost a perfect sequel. Both Fred and D'Urville Martin really came into their own. I have to say that I think Westerns are actually Fred Williamson's best genre. With a few more dollars for the projects and a few tweaks, I think these movies could rival High Plains Drifter, A Fistful of Dollars, and For a Few Dollars More. I sincerely wish that Fred Williamson had done or would do a version of Hang 'em High. And it's interesting. If you consider Boss Nigger his High Plains Drifter,
Mm-hmm.
because it definitely leans into it. It's interesting that Michael Lockett checks Hang 'em High, because that is a Clint Eastwood Western that I actually don't like, because I think it goes on way too long and has too much story in it. And
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
No, it's
I don't think I've ever seen Hang 'em High.
yeah, it's not one of it's of course not one of his Sergio Leone ones, so it's not one of the more heralded ones.
Right.
And it definitely leans more American in its vibe and its texture and everything like that. But it's just it's so long and gets boring in the middle and wastes a great performance by Bruce Dern. God. Michael continues, the Wayback Machine dropped me off with you two as you critique The Thing with Two Heads. This was the George Floyd murder episode, and it really brought me back to my shock at white people's shock. This movie was bad when it came out, bad when I watched it, and I always watched it, and it's still bad, but I love it. I had forgotten how accomplished Ray Milland was. Thanks for the refresher, fellas. He indeed was an accomplished actor. I don't want to talk out of turn, but again, people, if you need an extra fix of these two brothers, Patreon. Well, I did not know this was here. So this is
out of turn.
All you like. He continues, the discussion of the painterly use of the N-word on the Standing Keep at the Gate episode was Basquiat level work by Len. Len went off perhaps. Len went off and I was there for it. And on the Red Fox and the Pink Lady episode, y'all had me rolling over the, quote, old ass Osmonds and who gives a sitcom to a couple that can't talk. Just for some extra background on Pink Lady and the Jeff, Walter Cronkite ran a story about Pink Lady on the CBS Evening News, and a NBC exec said, we gotta make money off them.
That sounds horrible.
and yet so true.
Yeah.
Yet so true. They were so big in Japan that they even had their own action figures and anime. There's a Pink Lady anime. Vincent, we have to find this.
Do we?
We have to. We have
Okay.
to. It'll first of all, it would have been done in the 70s. So it'll be some of that 70s classic anime.
Classic anime.
And they might
I'm
actually
sorry. Pink Lady just makes me feel a little skeevy.
why ski? That's because you only know them from the TV show. You
Yeah.
don't know them in their full glory. You know,
Nothing about Pink Lady sounds like people have given consent.
but it was in Japan. This was where they were big. Maybe in their anime, they grow to 50 feet tall and they fight kaijus.
Right.
I'm going to
I
look
feel
for
like
it.
there's an old icky man involved in the contracts.
If I would hear you if they were Japanese and they didn't speak Japanese either, so people are just putting them in whatever. But
You
I'm
you don't think it's nobody taking advantage of young people in Japan?
no. What are you talking about?
I tell you what, you investigate the anime and then report back to the class.
I will. I will.
Right.
I will. Um, all this nostalgia, Michael continues, took me down a rabbit hole, and I came to a hypothesis.
Okay.
It is my hypothesis that the film Toy Story from 1995 effectively killed the subgenre of kid driven movies like Little Giants, The Green Machine, Goonies, Home Alone, etc. Toy Story
Mm-hmm.
was so big and appealed to kids and adults in a way so powerfully that no one really wanted to venture down the path of working with real kids. Why hire and wrangle a group of kids for a project when you could just animate them? What say you, brothers? All the best, Michael. I'm trying to think of. So he's thinking about killed that genre
Right.
after 1995.
Right.
Well, so I'm trying to think of moments because if you accept his hypothesis, it may be true. I can't think of anything right offhand until you get to Stranger Things
Yes.
on Netflix. But
Yes.
even then, before that, you have Attack the Block. That was young
Yeah, but
kids.
but that was British.
True, that was British. Can't think of anything. I'm trying to think of like maybe was like a live action Disney movie that had like a bunch of
No,
kids
there
in it.
isn't. No, there isn't.
Not as
I
like
don't
the
know if I
real stars.
I don't know if I would point to Toy Story, although I think that's a wonderful touchstone. You know, I've said on and off for years. I feel like that freak farm that both Disney and Nickelodeon have
Mm-hmm.
destroyed child performers. Like part of the reason Stranger Things worked so early is that it was the first time in 20 years that you didn't see a child performer that didn't look like he was pushed out the womb, put on a diet, and put into singing and dancing lessons like everybody on those channels.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. 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 It was few and far between to find somebody that was like came across as truly genuine on those shows.
Like
So that's true.
there's no one analogous to a Jason Bateman or Ricky Schroeder. I mean, even if you say he crashed and burned, you know, Ricky Schroeder.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I feel about the kids on the Cosby Show. Uh, Michael J. Fox as a teenager, like vibe, that whole kind of vibe of young actors who seem like they could be regular kids
Mm-hmm.
until Stranger Things. I can't think of a good example of any.
Oh, I got a funny feeling there's some that I just can't think of. I mean, Keenan and
I
Kel
think
came across as real.
Keenan and Kel are around that time though. Like Keenan and
Yeah,
Kel, but
they're the 90s, early
like they're
2000s, right?
right. I'm saying they're like the last men off. They're like the last men out of Saigon,
Mm,
and then immediately Nickelodeon and Disney turn into these sort of
the
again factories.
machines. Yeah, the
Right, they turn
factories.
into the
Yeah.
machines. I think Zendaya has transcended it.
Yes.
I think what's the old girl who's in Wicked? Ariana Grande
Mm-hmm.
has transcended it.
Mm-hmm.
But so many of them,
And so
Zac
did
Efron,
Zac Efron. I was going to say Selena Gomez on Only
right.
Murders in the Building.
But as kids, they look like little freaks. Like they look like these little freaks. Like everybody on those channels, on those stations, it's like this real uncanny valleyness to them.
And maybe so. I didn't watch a whole lot of them, so I can't speak of them.
Right. Because your daughter's older than my daughter.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't.
So like I actually would have it's like what in the West world is going on the television?
What in the West world? You're funny. You're funny. All right. All right. Well, thank you, Michael, for that email. Appreciate
Yes.
it. I wanted to touch on one other thing before we move on to the show, Vincent. And as I have mentioned before, we're going to be coming up on our 500th episode relatively soon. We're scheduled to crack that perhaps sometime in July if things stay on schedule. And I put it out there to some of our fans on Patreon who follow us on Patreon if they had any suggestions for a film that we might review for our 500th film, because that's a landmark, certainly a landmark.
Yeah.
And of course, any film that we haven't reviewed at this time is on the table. But I also put it out there that any films that we had reviewed in the before YouTube days might also be on the table as well.
Sure.
You know?
In the long ago.
Right. Back in the kitchen table days.
Right.
So we had a few suggestions. I want to see what you think about these. Okay.
All right.
Sean Simmons. Hey, Sean, what's up, my brother?
What's up, Sean?
He had 2 suggestions.
Okay.
He was suggesting either CB4 or The Great White Hope.
The Great White Hope is on my short list anyway. We might hit that before 500.
Yeah, that's the film with James Earl Jones as Jack Johnson.
Right, because I've been thinking about that and then I just lost it. What's the film with Damon Wayans and Samuel L. Jackson? Is that The Great White Hype?
I think that's The Great White Hype. I'm going to look it up, but I believe that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about both of those. In fact, as I said them out loud, they sound like films that I want to pick for the same month.
Yeah, The Great White Hype, 1996.
Yeah, which I remember being way too smart for the time.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I've never seen that film. Steve Tozen, the $6 million triple.
Steve.
Suggests Deep Cover. Which
Deep Cover?
We reviewed that, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
But was that before? I guess that was before YouTube. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It actually has been a minute since.
Yeah, always good for Deep Cover. Yeah. What else we got?
Courtney.
Hey, Courtney.
Suggested any of Eddie Murphy's classic movies, such as Boomerang or Coming to America.
Sure.
Or A Rage in Harlem or Devil in a Blue Dress. Now,
Okay.
the only reason I would push back on Coming to America is
Of course.
because we reviewed that with our, excuse me, Simone Missick.
Yes.
So I wouldn't want to, redo that unless we brought her on. And even then, when we bring her on, it's going to be to do Coming to America.
To America. That's right. That's right. We've had that seat open for her.
Yes. Of course, when we do finally rebook her on the show, she will, of course, say that she doesn't want to do Coming to America and will
Right.
select something totally different.
Sure. Sure.
Very
sure.
random.
Sure.
She'll probably say, I want to sit in on one of the Dolomite movies.
Right.
Now, here's a good one, though.
Okay.
And actually, I put out this suggestion because to see what you thought about it. I thought it might be good to redo our review of Hollywood Shuffle.
Okay.
Because not only was that in the before YouTube days, that was very early in the show. So
Sure.
I don't think we had even really, the show hadn't really congealed yet by the time that when we reviewed
Sure.
that.
Sure.
And I think we might be able to give it a more sharper critique at this
Right.
point.
Right. Well, that one speaks to me because that's an episode that makes me wince because I call the film Harlem Shuffle the entire episode.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Not only did we call it, I think you call it Harlem Shuffle. I think if I remember, the original podcast art for it had it mistitled as well. So it
Right,
definitely is one.
Right. So we were just wrong in that. It's wrong.
So for 500, it might be nice to do
right,
that right.
I thought Spencer Tracy was in it. It was, I spent a surprisingly long time talking about Robert Townsend hypnotizing Jamie Walker into thinking he could be a better boxer. Like there was a lot going on in that episode.
There's a lot going on. Yeah.
A lot going on. Yeah. So,
yeah. So that might be, maybe that is a good one to revisit.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
To get right.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for all of your thoughts. We're still compiling a list, making a choice to see what we're going to do for episode 500, as well as what we can do just to make that show a very special show indeed. Because there are a lot of podcasts that don't make it to 100 episodes, let alone 500.
So,
yeah. So,
us.
Yes. So stay tuned for more news about that. And I also want to take this moment to thank all of the people who took the time this weekend to join Vincent and I on Saturday at VirtuousCon, where we had a really great time. We spoke with the animator Frank Abney about his fantastic short film, Black Man, Black Man. Beautiful poem of a film. And then we also took place in the Warp Core Breach, the Star Trek panel, which was a lot of fun. That was a really good time. Shout out to our good friend George Kimona, who was very instrumental in getting us on that panel. That was a lot of fun, man. And we appreciate all the people that came out and joined us.
We really do.
People
great time.
Took in the podcast from that. They joined the podcast. A couple of people even joined Patreon because of that as well. So it was really nice, and it was a great time.
Yeah, thank you, one and all. Good looking out, George.
Mm-hmm. And hey, if you are going to be in the Philadelphia area, you can join Vincent and I this Thursday night, February 26th. When we will be at Philadelphia Film Society for the very special 6K Philadelphia premiere of Riverbend, the film that has been fully restored and remastered by our good friend Mike Dennis of Real Black. I will be there moderating talk back and conversation about the film with some of the stars and writers or directors of the film. It really promises to be a great time. You can go to Philadelphia Film Society if you're in the area to get your ticket so you can be there for the screening of Riverbend this Thursday, the 26th. And the Micheaux Mission and the Be Real Black Cinema Club are returning to Bryn Mawr Film Institute Wednesday, March 18th for our very special screening of Just Another Girl on the IRT. It promised to be a fun time. How do I know? Because the writer-director of the film, Leslie Harris, will be in the building with us to take part in a very special talk back and podcast after that screening. Tickets are available right now for your buying pleasure at brynmarfilm.org. So make it so. Come out to check your favorite Men of Me show at these two upcoming events. And we're trying to book more events all throughout the year. Go to micheauxmission.com for details. All right. And now, Vincent, it is now time for us to move on to the Game of Kings.
Game of Kings.
Yes, my friend. It is now time for 6 Degrees of D'Urville. All right, 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin, where I give Vincent 2 actors and he has 6 films or less to connect them to D'Urville Martin. Vincent, we've got a theme.
And what is the theme?
Wouldn't you like to know? We are reviewing 1979's Alien tonight.
We are
on the mission. So keeping it in theme, Vincent, connect D'Urville Martin to these 2 actors who look like aliens.
Oh, Lynn, easy with that.
Well, let's see what you think.
Okay, easy.
Starting with, in 6 movies or less, connect D'Urville Martin to Clint Howard.
Clint Howard. Okay. Well, Clint Howard,
who, unlike his brother Ron, I contend does look like an alien.
Right.
And he's famously played an alien.
But on Star Trek. Okay, so Clint Howard. Is he in Splash?
Clint Howard, I don't think he's in Splash. At least I don't remember him being in Splash, but I barely remember Splash. Let's go to the 80s on his filmography. He was in Splash.
I mean, Lynn, the secret is he's just
go
in his
to a Ron
movies.
Howard movie. I know.
Yeah.
Because you know what his role is in Splash?
No, I don't.
I
just knew he was. Go ahead. What's his role?
Wedding guest.
Yeah, I know. Let's be clear. Clint Howard has 2 lanes in his career. He was in that episode of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
He's in stuff his brother directs.
He's in something that his brother didn't direct. Wait a minute. Did his brother direct Apollo 13?
Yes. Yeah.
I always equate Apollo 13 to Steven Spielberg because Tom Hanks followed that up with his that space exploration series on HBO.
Yeah. Sure.
And now
we're gonna keep it 80s science fiction.
Okay.
Because D'Urville Martin is, of course, in the final come down, with Billy D. Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Billy D. Williams is in The Empire Strikes Back with Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is in Blade Runner with Daryl Hannah,
Yes.
who is in Splash with Clint Howard.
Very good, Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Now, I'm actually, because now I'm interested in his filmography away from his brother.
Right, which is what?
Well, it's actually a few films.
Okay.
I'm looking at the films that you might know.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Tango and Cash.
Okay.
He was in, that's his brother, The
Mm-hmm.
Rocketeer.
Okay.
He was in Leprechaun 2.
Seems a little on the nose, but sure, I guess brother got to work.
Yeah, well, there you go. Gotta work. He was in Barbed Wire, the Pam the Pam Anderson film based on a comic book.
Yes.
And he was also in Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
Mm.
He was in a few films. He was in the Austin Powers sequel. He was in Twilight. He was in he's worked.
Yeah, I suspect I know what Howard brother hosts Thanksgiving dinner.
Mayhaps.
Yeah. All right.
Mayhaps. All right. Well, that's Clint Howard. All right, Vincent. Very good.
All right.
Next.
And
6 films or less connect D'Urville Martin to this other alien resembling actor of note.
This is not cool. I do not sign off on this theme. Go ahead.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Yes, who I recognize is an attractive person, but in some settings can be a little strange, perhaps
Sure.
alien-like.
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and get through this. She was in the Joker sequel, right?
Yes, I take it you
Right.
do not know the title.
No. Angry white man puts on makeup. Is angry about things. Okay, here we go. D'Urville Martin is in. How do I want to do this? So many ways. It's a pretty target-rich environment. Let's say D'Urville Martin is in. Now let's just get to it so we can talk about Alien. D'Urville Martin's in 5 on the Black Hand Side with. Oh, okay. We'll do this. D'Urville Martin is 5 on the Black Hand Side. Dick Anthony Williams. Dick Anthony Williams is in Mo Better Blues with Spike Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Spike Lee is in, let's say, Crooklyn with Delroy Lindo. Delroy Lindo is in The Harder They Fall with Zazie Beetz. Zazie Beetz is in Angry Incel Man Puts on Makeup 1 with Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix, yes.
And then Joaquin Phoenix is in Incel Angry White Man Puts on Makeup 2 with Lady Gaga.
Very good, Vincent. Well done.
Ooh, I'm so angry. No one's listening to me.
I did not see Joker 2, Joker Deuce Foe or Dufo,
Yeah, sure, why
something
not?
like that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that. I saw the first
Sure.
Joker. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw the what I consider the original of that movie, which was Martin Scorsese.
Taxi Driver?
No.
Yeah.
No, Martin Scorsese's The King of Comedy.
Oh, right, 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 right.
Right, which is a far superior film.
Sure, sure, sure.
Well done, Vincent. Well done.
All right.
All right. Well, with that out of the way, it is now
With that out of the way,
time for us to get into our review of 1979's Alien.
1979's Alien, a 1979 science fiction horror film directed by Ridley Scott and written by Dan O'Brien, covers the journeys of the commercial space tug Nostromo,
Nostromo, yes.
which, while returning to Earth with a seven-member crew, is tasked with investigating some interesting findings on a planet by their company masters. And then some stuff happens. This black film stars Tom Skerritt, Sigourney Weaver,
White,
Harry Dean Stanton,
white,
John Hurt,
white.
and Yaphet Kotto.
Ding, 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 ding.
Directed by Ridley Scott. 1979's Alien was the choice of Lynn Webb as we end our month of Cowboys and Aliens. Lynn,
Yes.
what do you have to say about this black movie that we talk about here on the Micheaux Mission, Alien?
I'm going to say all I have to say about Alien, and then I'm going to sit back and enjoy the ride with Vincent.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, no.
You don't.
But I've got a lot to. I've got
okay.
More than enough to say about this film. First of all, you talked about the plot of the film, so let's get it out of the way. You've got this, and it sets itself up in what is now classic, horror movie settings with a small group, individuals cut off from the world and have to enter into some strange environment where they behold something unfamiliar, dangerous, scary, and lethal, and then have to find ways to survive this threat. It is typical for horror movies since the dawn of time, and it continued into the 70s. The difference is at this point in 1979, the world of Hollywood is reeling in the wake that is the explosive hit of Star Wars from 1977. And it's and such is the times that in 1979 there was probably likely some more than a few theaters in the country where Star Wars may have still been on the screens.
How about that?
Because it had just gotten around to the second and third run theaters, and that's just how things were at that time. And it also speaks to how big Star Wars was. And the hit that is Star Wars is immediately felt in the beginning of Alien when this film opens up, because it opens up with this very long exploration of their ship. The camera takes you from one room to the other, and even some of the bulkheads and walkways of the film kind of resemble some of the walkways from Star Wars. The Millennium Falcon is kind of echoed in there a little bit. The difference is that it's definitely a little moodier. You can sense the age even more so than you could on the Millennium Falcon, because recognizing that had been through some wars, but you could feel the age, the dust, the crackiness of this ship. And even though it definitely is set in some of the trappings of 79 as far as some of the more digital look of some of this quote unquote futuristic technology, it still feels very atmospheric and so dark. I think one of the beautiful things that this movie overall does is it plays greatly with shadow, realizing that in shadow, even though it is hiding some of what you see, that less is more, because because now your mind fills in what it can't make out. It also, in those shadows, and then sometimes in some of the camera work, it allows for a depth of feel to the scene, so that you feel much more immersive into the world of the Nostromo, this ship, as the camera takes you all around it. So I thought that is so beautifully done, and you can feel that this is not a stage. You can feel, for younger people who are watching this with 21st century eyes, you can feel that this is not just a set that was built, but a set that was built to scale for people. So they're not just on some empty sound stage. No, they are actually almost walking into a fully blown ship that was built for them, for the maneuvering of this film. So it just has a totally different tactile sense to it. The other way that this film stands out immediately from its inspiration in Star Wars is that in Star Wars, you have Harrison Ford is probably your oldest actor in that film. And even in Star Wars, I believe he's like in his earlier mid 30s. Everyone else is like 30s, or maybe I think Mark Hamill is even much younger. And here's where another difference immediately hits you from Star Wars, and even from typical horror films. Because in the typical horror films, and even in the world of Star Wars, when you are introduced to that small cast, usually that's going to be your window into this world, they're generally they're either young kids in most horror films, or they're in their 20s or 30s. This 7-member crew of the Nostromo, you've got the bulk of them are actors that are in their 40s or over. So these are older actors. The youngest one is Sigourney Weaver at 28 years old, and she is decidedly the new person on the block. This is not her first film, but is one of her very first films. And the movie does a good job in the beginning of not lampshading at all that she is going to be the protagonist of this film at all. You were just introduced to this motley crew that seems to get, getting along with each other. Each have got their little quirks with one another. You quickly realize what's the order of things, who's in charge of whom, and as you're introduced into that world, you immediately say, "Oh, okay. Well, this is not like it is any other place." This is a totally, not only an older crew, this is a wiser crew, and I think it's very cool reading into the backstory of this film that this crew, they only address each other by their last name, and that was purposeful because the writer Dan O'Bannon, did not want he wanted all of the characters to be unisex. He did not want any gender to stand out. So you've got Dallas, Kane, Ripley, Lambert, Ash, Parker, and Brett, along with the ship cat, which is Jones. So even the cat has a last name.
Good old Jonesy
in this film. And the last member of the team is the ship's computer, Mother. And when you walk into this setting, not only do you realize, okay, this is a little more dingy, a little more darker, mysterious, eerie, certainly more atmospheric than Star Wars, which was trying to emulate, the popcorn films of yesteryear, of the 30s and 40s. So this is different, but it also, in the role, the ship's computer of Mother, it harkens back, if you're watching this from a science fiction lens, to 2001, and Space Odyssey.
There you go.
So you're like, oh, Mother. Oh, and that's Mother. I've seen this film before. Yeah, because you're thinking about how. So you sit back and you're like, all right, I know where this film's going. Let's go. No. This film is going someplace completely different. And if you don't believe that, this film sets down on a planet because they received some mysterious transmissions and they are duty bound to go check it out because that's the contract that they signed on for. And they go down to this planet to check out where these readings, this transmission is coming from. And it's coming from this humongous ship that is apparently shipwrecked on this planet. And this ship does not look like anything they've ever encountered before. And it doesn't look like anything that you have encountered before if you're thinking about the science fiction and space travel that you are used to. Even the science fiction of the recent Star Wars variety, this don't look like that. Right when it sets you up with its inspirations from Star Wars in 2001 with the Mother character, and you think that you're ready for what you're going to get into, they all of a sudden have to land on this planet where they investigate this transmissions, and they come upon this huge spaceship of a like you have never seen before. And this spaceship doesn't look like anything that you've encountered in any piece of science fiction before, including the recent Star Wars. So this is totally alien. There's that word. And just to give you the true sense of it, because this is, while they had visual effects, this is definitely in the day before, CG effects. They walk into a tactile, fully created to almost to scale set of a 40-foot room of a ship that they walk in there, which then features the design work of H.R. Geiger. Which, if you don't know H.R. Geiger, he is the man who put his stamp on, these intricate, ephemeral, eerie, almost Lovecraftian science fiction imagery that you would see in some of your fantasy of the time, paintings of the time, and then in the work of movies, which make his mark here in Alien and then also in Blade Runner. And when they walk into this room, you realize, oh, this is different. This ain't Star Wars. This is something eerie with this huge, humongous skeleton, which apparently has something ripped out of his body. It's just the imagery of it is amazing, and it's all the more so because of the practical ways that they pull off, and we could talk about some of those ways that they pull it off down the line. But you realize you are in for a totally different world, and this is science fiction noir. This is thriller. This is horror. This is body horror. This is,
Mm-hmm.
to a degree, a detective story. If things are just slowly revealed, the story is slowly revealed piece by piece along the way with this film. It is just masterful storytelling. It is also masterful compromise, because so much of this is the product of the director Ridley Scott, who played a hand in the script. But the script, which was written by Dan O'Bannon, actually had help from some of the producers as well, including Walter Hill, who did a
There it is.
big touch on the dialogue of this film, which is why this film feels so real. So like
That's right.
you feel like you're just a fly on the wall to these people living this life, and you've caught them at what will be the worst moment in their life.
Yeah.
but they feel so authentic, so their camaraderie, their irritations with one another, the way that they even just cut eyes at one another, it feels so spot on to what a group that has been apparently in space for much longer than they wanted to be would actually act, how they would come across, how they would act with one another. It is so masterfully done in this film. And I think that's one of the reasons why this is the film that continues to resonate over all these years. I think this is one of the reasons why people locked on this film when it came out, even though it wasn't the huge success that it would soon be. No one saw necessarily the huge franchise that would come out of this. You knew, but everybody knew that they had something different on their hands. And that was this film. So it was actually a great moment for me to revisit this film, because unlike you, while I do enjoy the film, I probably hasn't watched this film in at least 20 years. So it was good time. It was a good time watching it and reviewing it. And it's so interesting that this film, despite the actors in it who are mostly actors of a certain age, this is a film that kind of turns the corner for a lot of these older actors as well. As I said, Sigourney Weaver, she's only 28 years old when she does this film. This is the first movie that like makes her pop. This is the first movie that she is the lead. Matter of fact, she got the lead. They were looking at Meryl Streep to be in this movie, right? And to be perfectly honest, I could see Meryl Streep in 1979 being in this movie. I'm glad they got Sigourney Weaver, but if they had gotten Meryl Streep, I probably wouldn't have been mad. Her career would have taken a different turn, probably.
Right.
Maybe, who knows? But they got Sigourney Weaver, and this is the movie that puts her over the top. But as much as this is the movie that puts her over the top, this is the film that also sets in stone that Tom Skerritt, at that time, a bubbling character actor, but by no means like, a huge star. He's first name on the call sheet in this movie, right? And he carries the film very well. John Hurt, he's 1 year away from winning the Oscar for The Elephant Man, but at this moment, he is very much a respected actor of note, but a respected British actor of note. And this was at a time before British actors regularly crossed the pond over to here, like as much as they do now. 1979 wasn't thought of doing that as much. Person that opened that door, go back to 1977, Sir Alec Guinness in Star Wars. Next thing you know, you got John Hurt in this film. And to bring this into the world of black films, you've got Yaphet Kotto in this movie. Yaphet Kotto, definitely a star of note in your black houses at this time. Everywhere else, oh, he's that guy that showed up in that movie. Oh, he's that guy that showed up in that movie. But in 1979, he's coming off of showing up as the villain in James Bond, Live and Let Die.
Right.
He is coming off his biggest role yet. And now he is on his way to possibly being the it guy. So one might argue, you're going to do an alien film? You're going to do a sci-fi film? Sci-fi not being like, the big movie of films of note at that time? Not before Star Wars. Sure, sign me up. I'll be there. I'll do it. I'll put my Yaphet Kotto stamp on it. And he does. And lo and behold, probably next to Homicide, Life on the Streets, this is probably the other film that Yaphet Kotto is project Yaphet Kotto is most recognized from. I would argue, and as always, he's uniquely Yaphet Kotto in it, but he is great in the film. Absolutely great in the film. A joy to behold in this film. And the other reason why this movie has the stamp of being possibly a black film is because I'm sure that is not as widely known that the xenomorph in Alien was actually portrayed by a black man.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know this, but the xenomorph in Alien was actually portrayed by, and I'm going to bring up the gentleman's name here because this gentleman has only performed in one film, and that was Alien. That is right. It was only the one film, and his name is Balaji.
That's right.
Badijo, who was 6'10". He was a 6'10", 26-year-old graphic design student who they found I believe. I had his descent here. I believe he's Nigerian. Nigerian descent, who was actually found in a bar in Nigeria by a member of Ridley Scott's team and brought on to fill out the suit because he had at his size incredibly long arms and legs, which in the costume would create the truly alien physique that they wanted for this for the xenomorph. Mind you, they already knew because of how they were going to be filming this movie that the xenomorph would never really be shown in full form, full bodied in any way. It will always be in the shadows with sharp close-ups. In fact, I think if you total it up, there's only about 4 to 5 minutes of footage of the xenomorph on camera at all, and even that is still like with all the close-ups and things of that nature.
I was about to say, and that's a very liberal use of on camera.
Very much so. But it absolutely works. It absolutely works in this film. This young man who actually they wanted to return for the sequel, but he said no. He had moved on from it in his life. The reports was that while he was, excellent in the role, but he was more of a gentler soul. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
He was definitely the youngest person on set, and even then, he's hidden behind the costume, so he's not really, integrated with the audience, with the crew, or the cast so much. So he was a gentler soul, kept to himself, and when he came through this, he went back to home to start an art gallery that he curated and owned and managed until his tragically early death in 1993 from sickle cell. But Balaji Badijo, the reason why the xenomorph became one of the most recognized images of science fiction and horror ever owes all of that to the portrayal by Balaji Badajo in this original film in 1979. So much so that I contend that it is possible, because of the star-affirming role of Yaphet Kotto in this film, and because of the star-making performance of Balaji Badajo as the xenomorph in this film, that Alien from 1979 is in fact an undercover brother, a low-key black film.
Okay, sure, why not? I'll go along with you, because I think this film is utterly brilliant, just utterly brilliant, and I think you have to start with the start, like the construction of this film, for Ridley Scott to be a fairly young director when this film comes. This is the work of a master. This is the work of a master in every aspect of filmmaking. Just to repeat some of the things that you said, when you look at this as almost counter programming to Star Wars and this resurgence of popcorn science fiction, or that harkens back to the 40s and 50s and the serials like Star Wars did. From the very moment it comes on, it lets you know this is something different. And it does so with this level of filmmaking. As you said, when it comes on, it is silence. There's a bit of the score.
Great score by Jerry Goldsmith.
Right. Plot wise, these men and women are in suspended animation. So the ship is silent. The ship is moving. Eventually they come on. I mean, just on the level of timing, it is almost at 7 minutes into the film before you hear anyone speak. The signal lets them know that they have to go investigate. They are awakened from stasis. The 7 actors do not utter a word until almost, again, 7 minutes into it. The film goes on. The pacing is deliberate and confident in such a way that it is, regardless of the initial reception of the film, Ridley Scott had such confidence in it. Again, back to the time. This film is an hour and 57 minutes, right at 2 hours. You don't see what becomes the iconic image of the egg for 33 minutes. You don't see the chest burster, and God knows we have to talk about the introduction of the chest burster, until 57 minutes into the film, almost half of the film before you actually see the alien.
Yep.
It is 1 hour and 7 minutes. The film is halfway over, more than halfway over, before you see the xenomorph. This is a film that the direction, the pacing, the blocking, the set design, there is not a frame out of place in this entire film. Talking about the alien not being as much of the moment-to-moment plot, this is carried by these 7 actors that, just as the plot goes on, drop out one by one. And then the remaining cast has to carry it. You said it. This cast is pitch perfect. This cast is so lived in and so real and so authentic. Here's you want to know my embarrassing factoid from Alien? I did not realize Tom Skerritt was an actor until almost 10 years after this film came out, and I saw him on Picket Fences.
You thought they just cast an astronaut?
Thought he was the captain of a merchant marine crew that investigated deep space. Again, as counter programming, and we touched on this a little bit this weekend when we talked about Star Trek. Love Star Trek, love Star Wars. Star Wars, you've got a space princess, you've got a Jesus figure, you've got a swashbuckling pirate. Star Trek, most of the Star Trek series is set on the Enterprise, which is the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like competency porn.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best episodes of Star Trek, there is a problem, and then you have all of these extraordinarily competent people
Yes.
coming together to solve the problem.
Yes, from this altruistic star fleet.
The Nostromo, these are working stiffs. These are dudes. These are merchant marines.
Is we getting overtime?
We are 90% of Yaphet Kotto's character Parker's dialogue is about his stake in this. How much money am I getting paid? What am I contracted to do? How does this, and all of them. So that as the cast of a science fiction film, as you mentioned, in 1979, this is brand new. You have astronauts, you have adventurers, you have explorers, you have soldiers. These are just working cats.
Yep.
Look, this is just my gig. And then they are thrown into this extraordinary circumstance. I'm so glad you brought up Walter Hill as basically an uncredited screenwriter, because you are 100% right. That grittiness, that down to earth, that authentic sense that you get from the dialogue, I've always attributed to Walter Hill's efforts and what he did, which is part of the reason for me Yaphet Kotto shines.
Yes.
Because Yaphet Kotto, who is, out of all of these cast members, the one with the most experience in 70s crime drama, in blaxploitation. This is a character he knows. Like, this is as you said, this is very much a Yaphet Kotto character from this moment. And it shines through. I think as a black character, Parker is easily in my top 10, maybe top 5 black science fiction characters. Because again, he feels real. Like, we kind of joke about black people in these films and how they act, and they don't act like we think black people would act. You could argue that Jordan Peele's Nope is a play on that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Parker is one of the blackest dudes in one of these, because Parker, when the character is infected for the first time, Parker says, "Put him in the freezer."
That's right. Why are we putting him in the freezer?
We have talked on and off. Now let's just formally say it. The dinner scene with the chest burster, one of the most famous scenes in science fiction, dare I say, American film.
About to say film history.
This is the moment where these 7 actors are eating dinner and the chest burster comes out. This is the moment they are introduced to the alien. Famously, the actors did not know exactly what was going to happen. John Hurt knew because he had to have the actual prosthetic bursting out. But the other actors just knew something was going to happen. So the look of shock on their faces is 100% authentic. Famously, the character Lambert, played by Veronica Cartwright,
Yes.
she actually is almost hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
That is a legitimate, honest reaction. Like, she actually was like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Because not only did she not know that the alien was going to burst through the chest, she then is literally sprayed from head to toe with blood.
But if you look at each of the actors in that scene, everyone's yelling, everyone is chaotic. Yaphet Kotto's Parker grabs a knife and immediately springs into, we need to kill this thing.
Because I've seen this movie.
I see how that works. This is something that needs to die. And I just love him so much.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that someone who is shown as mercenary, is shown as this sort of overly pragmatic person. His closest friend on the ship, played by Harry Dean Stanton, and the two of them have this great relationship.
Mm-hmm.
For someone who is so gruff and uncaring, to see his passion for killing this thing after his friend dies lends him a level of nobility that I think keeps him from being this kind of one-note character.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, to add to your argument about it, the blackness, you and I have talked a lot about the alien as the other.
Mm-hmm.
Where oftentimes you see science fiction and the normal humanity is represented by a white person.
Yes.
And then a minority stand-in is the alien or the other. And while certainly Yaphet Kotto's character is a black human being, the vast majority of the characters are white. And spoiler, by the last 20 minutes, it really is just Sigourney Weaver.
Yes.
You misspoke earlier where you said H.R. Geiger, his design work was on Blade Runner, and it wasn't.
Oh.
It really is this.
Okay. No, I know, because Blade Runner is after this, isn't it?
Blade Runner is after this, but that's not Geiger. A lot of that is based on the French artist Mobius.
That's Mobius. Okay.
That's
okay.
Mobius.
Okay.
And the reason this is important to note is because Geiger really engages in a lot of erotic art.
Yes. Well, yes.
A lot of art of a very sexual nature. So that when you look at the design of the xenomorph,
mm-hmm.
and it looks like a penis,
mm-hmm.
that's not you just being dirty. Like, that's, when you look at Geiger's art, it is very erotic, so that the alien really does look like a giant black penis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This giant black penis with teeth chasing these people, and by the end chasing a Sigourney Weaver who has to undress.
Mm.
There is something very evocative about that. Also, I think it's worth noting, this is the first Alien movie. So all the information that we have about the xenomorph is just from this movie.
Mm-hmm.
We learn in the sequel that there are queens that lay the eggs and this, that, and the other. But I don't think it's too much to infer that this alien is trying to impregnate the people on this ship. Like, this alien may lay the eggs. So I do think there is some energy there that kind of speaks to this fear of the black penis. I told somebody, in a lot of ways, this film is a companion piece to Welcome Home, Brother Charles,
mm-hmm.
where, it's just this monster black penis. So I think that, too, is a very racialized way to read into this film. But I got to tell you, I don't spend a lot of time doing that.
No.
I don't spend a lot of time doing it because again, I think this is just an incredibly brilliant film. I think, we spend so much time talking about the xenomorph
mm-hmm.
design. I think the set design is fantastic. I think you absolutely hit on this sense of it's almost commentary on the design in Star Wars, where it is lived in, it is, creaky,
Mm-hmm.
it is run down, but at the same time, it is so intimidating. There's something ominous about it. Even there's the suite where the officers talk to Mother,
Mm-hmm.
which is all white.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It's all lights. Much like you, I think it's supposed to evoke your thoughts from 2001: A Space Odyssey, which had this same sterility
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of the sets. But there's something about those lights
Yeah. Yeah.
that is, and it's such a testament to, again, this design that at this moment isn't retrofuturistic, but immediately becomes this iconic look that you see again and again. Right now, the Alien television show utilizes a
Mm.
lot of this look, and it is just as evocative.
Yes. Yes, it is.
The performances, again, I love everybody. I love Sigourney Weaver. I love Ripley. Like, I love Ripley as a character. Like, Ripley is one of my favorite science fiction characters because, as you said, she is not a hero.
Mm-mm.
She's just trying to get out of this thing. And it's such a level of authenticity to the way she moves that the irony is it makes her more noble.
Yes.
So yeah, I cannot say enough about this film. I really can't.
I mean, look, man, it is an incredible piece of work. It's actually, when you started talking about the set, I was and our comparing it to Star Wars, it made me think about how, famously George Lucas won't even let the original version of Star Wars be seen if he can help it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's you have to see the enhanced version of his where he stuck in a whole bunch of visual effects in there. And it's funny how much of those visual effects in his mind, make it feel more real because it's a lot more busyness in the movie, but it
Mm-hmm.
actually makes the movie feel even more and more cartoonish and even more sterile and and I had the word in my mind I wanted to say. It feels sterile and fake. It doesn't feel real because now you're seeing the visual effects and none of them have any weight because they just stuck into the film, as opposed to, and this is where I will give a shout out to the Alien franchise, which I know that you have a far more investment in me, even though I am a fan of it. One of the things that Alien does in this movie and pretty much in every one in succession, even though they jump from genre to genre as they are continuing on and building out the mythology of this universe, is that they lean as much as they can on having a practical, tactile sense to their films because they hearken back to the original and they know how much that was also a part of the film. It wasn't just that Ripley was this woman who was a hero. We were actually watching her origin story. It wasn't so much that there was this incredible monster in this film. Well, the xenomorph is actually only seen for like 4 minutes and very strategically used in those 4 to 5 minutes. And it wasn't just that this was a space horror thriller. No, this was almost an escape room that people were put into that they had to find their way out of. And in there, that is all about figuring stuff out. That is all about touching things and seeing what they feel and how does this smell. You can almost smell. There was a moment in this movie when they walk into a room and they all like quiver at the smell. I don't know what they smelled, but I smelled it too. I mean, I know
Sure.
it was the acid, but it just the performance of that, the immersiveness of that universe is something that every other film in the franchise has tried to emulate to varying degrees of success all throughout. And it all begins with that template that was set up by Ridley Scott, by Jerry Goldsmith on the music, by Dan O'Bannon, by Walter Hill, by H.R. Geiger. It all begins with the template that was established in 1979 with this film. So much so that I will argue, the universes of Star Wars and Star Trek notwithstanding, I would contend that Alien sits very nicely alongside them as one of the most successful science fiction franchises ever, and some would say might even exceed them. Maybe not in box office, but in achieving what they will and creating memorable stories.
Well, first, I agree with you. Second, I think it's noteworthy that you brought up that word mythology, because I think one of the great things about Alien is it really is true to its title.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they go and they investigate this ship, there's no explanation, there's no background, there's no understanding about any of it whatsoever. It is actually alien, which speaks to, again, this in contrast to swashbuckling, laser swords, pretty girls in almost translucent white dresses.
Mm-hmm.
Space is fun. Space is an adventure in Star Wars. Space is terrifying in Alien.
Yeah.
It is actually terrifying. But on the other hand, I think I always forget, because I think, at this point, Alien, as you said, this 50-year mythology at this point,
Mm-hmm.
how much is quietly established in the first film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the fact that you have the company that actually orchestrated all of this. So again, back to this kind of working class, working stiff point of view, they actually have to deal with two monsters.
Mm-hmm.
They have to deal with the xenomorph, but then they have to deal with, corporate America.
That's right. Capitalism.
Like, the scariest moment in this film is it when the alien emerges in the shuttle at the end and you realize you haven't killed him?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it when Ripley sees the dispatch from Mother that says that the crew is expendable?
Yes. And then,
like, which moment is actually scarier?
And then Ash just appears in the room next to her.
Right.
Yeah.
And you realize, right, he wasn't human at all.
Exactly. Yeah. Think of how eye-dropping that scene was back in 1979.
Again, we've seen robots. You've never seen something like this.
Nope.
And as far as the franchise goes, I 100% agree with you. I'll actually push a little further. And I will say this with the caveat that this is a film, this is a series that you have to see the director's cuts to really judge them. Although, I know so you can be pedantic and say that the third director, David Fincher's director's cut, isn't quote unquote a director's cut.
Mm-hmm.
They just use his notes. But I don't think there is a science fiction franchise that's stronger than Aliens. I'll put these 4 Alien films up against any science fiction franchise. Are you thinking about Star Wars? I'm absolutely thinking about Star Wars. You told me that Planet of the Apes is your favorite franchise. Planet of the Apes is my favorite franchise. But these 4 are better than Planet of the Apes in quality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're better than Star Wars in quality.
Oh, they're absolutely better than Star Wars. Yeah. Yeah. I love and again, I love this Ripley character.
Mm-hmm.
And as you watch her develop from film to film.
Yes. And shout out to Sigourney Weaver, because as her career grows, and we might as well say it now because, to be fair, I don't think we can make the push that any of the other future Aliens are black films. But, Charles Dutton, notwithstanding.
Right.
But shout out to her, because as her career grows and her success increases, she never shied away, not only from her roots with Aliens, but also returning to the series. I mean, she definitely returned for one final, saying goodbye, but she was always gung-ho. If it made sense, yeah, I'll be back, because this is what made me, and I'm going to come back for it.
I mean, again, yes, shout out to her, and hopefully she negotiated all the money on Earth. But again, I think as a role, Ripley is an amazingly complex protagonist from film to film.
Well, and I think
just a really interesting role. Like, this isn't somebody who you can say Sigourney Weaver just showed up to cash a check.
No, because she definitely had a hand in developing the role.
Yeah, in each film, this is an extraordinary character.
Yeah, yeah, well done. So we've conceded that Alien is a black film.
I think you can very much look at it through a racialized lens.
There you go. That's all I need. So it is a black film, and
there you go.
And I think it goes without being said that we both heartily recommend that you see Alien if you have not seen Alien.
And to be clear, we're not just talking to science fiction fans. We're not just talking to horror fans. Like, we're not talking to genre films. Like, this is an extraordinary film. Like, it really is. I don't think I've ever seen it on the big screen.
Really?
I was too young when it
you were
came
too
out.
young. Yeah.
And then, I caught it a bunch of times. I own it like 3 different ways. I remember seeing Aliens. And I've seen every film since then. But yeah, I can't imagine seeing this on the big screen.
I saw this on the big screen. And to be fair, I was probably too young, but this was at a time when they didn't care. So I saw this on the big screen and remember immediately knowing from the commercials that this wasn't Star Wars, but it was science fiction. So I want to go see it.
Right. Pew, pew, spaceships.
Right. And it was really eerie. But one of the things that I remember distinctly from watching it is that as creepy and, I don't want to say I was scared, but I definitely was like, oh, what am I watching here? I also appreciated that even then in 1979, the chest burster scene notwithstanding, and also Yaphet Kotto going ham on Ash, that's a rough scene too. But outside of those two scenes, which because of what actually happens in there, and knowing this is the world of science fiction, you get kind of buys like, all right, I see the special effects on display. It actually is very tame in the killing. A lot of the deaths happen off screen or smartly,
yes,
or you'll see the aftermath of it, and even then you'll see it in shadow. So
that's right.
So I really appreciated that, and because of that, I think that if you haven't seen this film or haven't seen it in a long time, it's a film to rewatch, and I think it's a film to introduce to maybe 13, 15-year-old as well, if they haven't checked it out. I think it's definitely easy enough for them to take in. Great film.
Absolutely.
Great film. All right, that has been our review of Alien. Before we tell you what we're going to be reviewing next week here on the Micheaux Mission, I invite you to share all of your thoughts. You can email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. You can find us on all the social media at Micheaux Mission. You can also like, subscribe, and follow the Micheaux Mission on the favorite podcast catcher of your choice, whether that be Apple, Spotify, or wherever you find podcasts, or YouTube, where you can subscribe, hit the bell, and be notified of when we are premiering all of our new shows, and when we put up all of our shorts and other ancillary works. The Micheaux Mission, if you want to find us where we're going to be at a next special event or learn more about our show, you need to go to our website, micheauxmission.com. 2 men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. And if you really want to help support the show, then you can join our Patreon, patreon.com/Micheaux Mission, where monthly donations of just $5 will grant you access to not 1, not 2, but 3 brand new all monthly podcasts brought to you by myself and Vincent and our good friend Ariel Johnson. As you've heard, we have 2 episodes that just went up of our serial killers and the binge lounge. There's already an episode of Len's Secret Movie Podcast with Ariel Johnson up there. And there are, I think we've got about 5 or 6 episodes of each of those up there for your listening pleasure. If you want to help us, that is a great way to help us because it helps support everything that we do here at the show. The Micheaux Mission is also brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network. Believe, B-L-E-A-V. Every sport, every topic, everywhere. Go to Believe.com and check out their wide range of podcasts, including ours, the Micheaux Mission, which will be returning next week we'll be in the month of March. And we're going to lighten things a little bit as we come out of the murky depths of space with the alien. And now we're going to join James Earl Jones, where he has a good time enjoying the annihilation of fish.
Put it this way. You gave me a gift with Alien. Next week, I give you a gift.
Okay. I look forward to this. I look forward to this, as should you. Next week, here on the Micheaux Mission. Until then, he's Vince, I'm Len, and in parting we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.